Hey, Coach, how you guys doing? I wanted to quickly record this so for coaches who was able to watch the 3 day mastermind, or maybe you missed a day, missed a couple of days. I wanted to do a quick recap through the entire 3 days and kind of take you through what we talked about. So maybe there's some. I'm not going to go into as deep as what I did during the 3 day, but I'm going to try to hit the surface level areas so that you guys can kind of take a little bit out of this, and so you don't feel like you completely missed out. That's really what I'm kind of trying to shoot for here. So day one. So basically, what we're trying to do here is I'm trying to build a community of coaches who of underdogs who need a better way to compete with their opponents year in year out. Compete with half their schedule, their entire schedule. If you're that underdog type player, the Princeton offense, in my mind, is what's going to get you over the hump and try to get you to a point where you can even the playing field against those teams and give you a fighting chance as the underdog. That's what it did for us when I was an assistant with the girls program, and when I was head coach of the boys program and assistant coach with other boys programs. We use this system to help us even the playing field. So, if you're better than a team, you should beat that team. If you're the better team, you should win the games that you should win. You should win. If you're disciplined and if you play hard, if you don't play down the level of competition, you should win those games. Um, and then there's those games that you're kind of even with, and maybe they have an advantage here, maybe you have an advantage here. It comes down to execution. Okay, but then there's a lot of games on your schedule that you're the underdog. Coming in, no one expects you to win this game. Everyone knows. Your parents know. The fans know. Your players might even know. Say that team's they've got this kid and this kid, and they're better than us. And they've already won 13 games and we've won four. And how are we gonna compete with that team? That's what this whole thing's about. That's what the entire thing's about. So let me give you a quick recap. I'm going to go through day one, day two, day three. Give you a quick recap of everything we went through. So day one, day one was concept day. And we talked about the history of Princeton. We talked about the philosophy. And we talked about concepts. So Princeton basically, when Pete Carrillo put this thing together at Princeton, he designed it. Their goal was and this is the first concept, is to take the tension out of the game of basketball. They wanted to win the Ivy League, and they, if you're in the Ivy League, and I don't know if it's what the case is today, but they could not recruit. They could not use money to recruit players. They could not give full scholarships, so they're already behind the eight ball. And then they have an academic level of athlete that they have, standards just to get into the school. So they have a couple barriers that's already working against them if they want to compete with the best teams in the country. So they devised this offensive system that would allow them to compete with the Georgetowns of the world and the UCLAs of the world. Once they got into the NCAA tourney, so they would win the Ivy League, okay, get into the NCAA tourney, and then compete with these top level programs that all 10 kids are on a full ride, so they get the best of the best players. And Princeton's down here. It's like we've got really smart players, but we don't have a quarter of the talent. We don't have a quarter of the athletic ability. We need to find a way to compete. So he came up with this offense. And then you had assistant coaches, Bill Carmody, and players who played for him, Joe Scott, John Thompson III, Chris Mooney. Those are my guys. That's the inner circle. When I think Princeton, that's the inner circle of guys. And for them, they did not want anyone else to have the offense. They said this was their competitive advantage. They didn't want anyone else to have it. So they didn't. They didn't share it with anybody. And so that's the number. And we're a copycat. It's a copycat profession. Athletics is a copycat. And someone else does something that works, everyone else copies it. But no one could copy Princeton. All right, from the '90s through 2020, no one could really copy it. Now it's starting to get out there a little bit. Okay, it started to get real popular early 2000s. Kind of went away, and it's kind of coming back, but not to the level. I love watching Princeton basketball. This is another reason why I'm doing this, because I want to see more Princeton out there. I want to see. It's just good basketball. It's fun basketball. And again, it's what lets the underdogs compete. It's what lets the underdogs ante up. Say, hey, I belong in this game. Okay, you might not think so, but when the game's over, you're going to know you were in a fight. Okay, and that's what Princeton's all about. So let's go through this. So that's a little bit of the philosophy, the history, and the secrecy of it. Like and I fell right into that too when I became a head coach. I was an assistant for 7 years, learning it. When I became a head coach, I put it in, and I made my mistakes along the way. But I had a really nice playbook, and a lot of you coaches might have gotten a copy of that, and I'll give you guys a link. I'm at the end of this, so you guys can get a copy of the playbook, or the 21 pages, not the whole thing, but copy of the core 4 playbook that we're going to talk about. But I got a head coaching job, and I had some assistants. I liked them. No, I didn't know them very well when I first got there. I love those guys now. But when I first got there, I was like, I'm not giving those guys a copy of this playbook. They're going to have to learn it on the floor, just like our players, and that's what we did. I just had that Princeton thing. I was like, I don't want to, I've got this. I've worked my tail off for this thing. I don't want to give it away. I would not even give it to my assistant coaches. Okay. That's how protective I was. And I didn't realize that until I became a head coach. I'm like, that's how those Princeton guys, that's how Kirill and Carmody and Joe Scott and JT, that's how those guys, that's how they operate. And that's what they feel. I'm like, okay, I understand a little deeper level now. So that's why it's so hard to learn. And I promise you, I'm not currently coaching. And some of you guys have heard my story. I'm not going to kind of go back into that. But if I were coaching, a high school team right now, I would not be doing this. I would not be sharing it with you. I still kind of have those feelings, but this is my way to scratch that itch that coaches that we all share. So anyway, big day one recap, day one concepts. Princeton offense takes the tension out of the game. Okay. What does that mean? Okay. We don't want to fight our opponent's strengths. Okay. If your opponent is more athletic than you, bigger, faster, stronger, if they want to get up and down the floor, all right, they have better players. You don't want to get them down. You don't want to play that game. Okay. They're going to win. Okay. We want to control the tempo. We want to fight their strength. Okay. We don't want to fall into their trap. Okay. That's what we mean when we take the tension out of the game. Number 2, when we talk about our players on the floor, we have good spacing, but we do not number the players. We got 4 guards out here and a big. Okay, all 4 of these players are interchangeable. Now, I will call these 2 guys guards, these 2 guys forwards, and that's our big. Okay, but we're not going to give them 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. We're not going to box our players in. We're not going to say, hey, you're a point guard. That's your thing. We don't want a point guard that can shoot. We want we want a guard that can dribble, pass, and shoot. Okay. We don't want a 2-man that's a shooting guard. We want a shooting guard that can dribble, pass, and shoot. Okay, we don't want a 3 and a 4 power forward and a shooting guard and a shooting forward. We don't want a shooting forward that's a slasher. I want this kid that can dribble, pass, and shoot. Excuse me. I don't want a power forward. I want this kid to be able to dribble, pass, and shoot. I want my 5-man to be able to dribble, pass, and shoot. That's the ultimate goal, is to have 5 players on the floor who are all threats, who can all dribble, pass, and shoot. Okay, now in a perfect world, sometimes at the high school level especially, it's harder to get that because you can't recruit that, but you can develop it. Okay. When I was a coach, I went down to my youth program. We held camps. We did all this kind of stuff, and we developed those programs. Okay. We developed those kids. And when they did come up into the high school, into our varsity program, we had a little bit deeper of a pool. Okay. So if you're not in a place where you're allowed to recruit, develop them. That's our job. We develop players, but we don't box them in. We want to develop the whole player. Okay. All right. It says concept number 2 is no numbers. Concept number 3, be open, don't get open. Okay. Now, most offenses, they're going to run right to if you roll the ball out in open gym, these guys are going to run straight to the 3-point line. Okay. Now, this is one of the most enlightening concepts to me, is be open, don't get open, because first thing I know, if our kids run to the 3-point line, I know for a fact they're going to be guarded, because that's where the defense is standing already. Defense gets back in transition. Depending on if they're pressure or pack or whatever they're doing, I know that defense is going to be standing on the 3-point line. And just by me standing on the 3-point line, I'm guarded. Okay, I'm not open. All right. So now what do I have to do? I have to get open. Okay. Which creates a problem if that kid is faster than my kid. Okay, now I'm asking this player who's slower, okay, maybe shorter, maybe not as long, maybe not as physically strong, to V-cut, L-cut, circle cut, pin and pop to try to get open, okay, against a superior athlete or just a physically more gifted athlete. All the while, my point guard is being pressured, he's being bothered, he's being turned left, turned right, and both of these players are under pressure. Maybe that kid's quicker than my kid. Again, at the same time, now we have to be able to time all this up. So I got to be able to get, create just enough space. And this guy's got to create enough space at the same time. Throw me the ball. It's frustrating for me to watch. Okay. And we're fighting their strength. That's what we're doing. We're fighting their strength. So we don't do that. Okay. So what we tell is we tell our guards in the wings, they get the heck off the 3-point line. So get off the 3-point line. Get off the 3-point line. And then I'm going to tell them, I was like, go ahead and take a couple steps up. Maybe 3-point line extended, 4 feet, 5 feet off the line. Just be open. So now one man's coming down, they're being pressured, being bothered, and they just look up like, oh, he's wide open. Boom, zip it. There's the ball, kid. All right? Just throw it to him. He's open. Now we can run our offense. Pressure's off. Okay? Isn't that nice? So if you have a problem with your kids turning the basketball over, or if they're slow decision makers, I guarantee if this kid's standing on the 3-point line, this kid's going to be a slower decision maker. Okay? I guarantee if that kid's standing out here and that defender's way down here, that kid's going to be able to make a quick decision. Oh, boom, he's open. Throw him the ball. Now we're up and now we're running. Okay? But then you might ask, well, coach, what if they come out here and deny us? Well, we're in trouble. Not in Princeton, because in Princeton you have the neck. Now, I'm not going to tell this kid, okay, yeah, you're denied. You're not open. I'm not going to tell you to try to get open from here. It's ridiculous. Okay, we have a next thing. What's the next step in our offense? If this is open or this is not open, fine. One man, all he has to do, being under pressure, being bothered, bringing the ball up the floor, making it, and he looks up and says, oh, he's not open. Boom, let me just throw it to the 2-man. All right, throw the ball over here. Let's run something different. Okay? And it was a quick decision because he just looked up and said, he's not open. Let me just throw it to the 2-man. You run the offense. You start the offense. Pressure's off. Okay? Third aspect about this, and this is where, when you play really good teams, really good sly coaches who tell your defenders, hey, don't deny, but don't sag off, but don't deny either. Okay, good defensive team makes the offensive team think. All right, when offensive teams think, now we're going to try to, how are we going to get open? There you go. You just said it. How are we going to get, we don't want to get open. Okay, we want to be open or not be open. So what I tell my point guard, hey, if you're not sure, they're not open. Decision over. If you look up and you have to say, oh, are they? Nope, they're not open. Zip it to the 2. Let's run the offense over here. Okay, so that's the big concept about being open versus getting open. Take the tension out of the game, guys. Take the tension out of it. Don't make it harder, or don't make the game harder on your players than it needs to be. That's what Princeton's about, okay? Concept 4. There's always a counter. Okay, so I just kind of started talking about that. If the 3 is not open, well, the counter to that would be, we'll just throw it right here. Throw it to the 2-man. Okay? If the 1-man's got the ball here, and let's just say the 2-man. What happens if the 2-man's not open? Okay, what's the next step? There's a counter for that. And I'll just show you, we'll do something. We'll just wave them through and say, 2, get it. Say you're not open. You're not open. I got a guy on me. I can't go anywhere. 2-man, get the heck out of my way. And we're going to send the 2 out of the way. And then boom, I'm going to jab step high. And look at all this room I've got. Okay, there's a counter for that. All right, and this is just surface level. Okay, but there's a counter for once the ball gets on the wing and the 5-man's not open, we got a counter for that. If the point's not open, we got a counter for that. We throw the ball down here to the 5 and they can't score, we've got a counter for that. Okay, there's always a counter in Princeton. Okay, big concept number 4, yeah. So concept number 5, watch the player in front of you. They tell you what to do. All right, huge point, okay? Let's just say we're running our low post stuff and we've gotten down here and we throw the ball down to 5 and we're gonna, okay, if this player moves and leaves his spot, we tell our players, watch the guy in front of you. What do you do? He left. So what do you got to do? Fill his spot. What do you do? Oh, he left. You got to fill his spot, her spot. Boom, cut and fill, cut and rotate. Okay, what if this player cuts? Oh no, I got to fill that spot. Oh, my guy left, I got to fill that spot. Okay, and they just circle continuously like that. They watch the player. So a lot of coaches they run motion, they run read and react. Well, coaches, our players just don't fill very well. And one of the problems is repetition. You don't rep it enough. So if your players are not doing what they're supposed to be doing on the floor, it's because they're not getting the correct amount of repetition to where that has become a habit for them. Okay, so the first answer is repetition. The second answer is there's not as much structure in a pure motion or just a 4-out motion or a read and react. There's not as much structure. There's more structure in Princeton. I feel like Princeton has the perfect balance of freedom and structure. Once you start going a little bit deeper into the offense, get off the surface level, kind of move down, there's a lot more going on. It's structured, and I call Princeton a structured motion. Okay, but it's not a rigid motion. There's a difference. Okay, very cool. So Watch the player in front of you. They tell you what to do. Right. Concept number 6. First of all, go backdoor. Okay. Go backdoor first. All right. We teach everything backdoor first when we cut, when we screen. And we want to go backdoor instead of going front door, because just a simple fact is, like, a lot of times one man might throw the ball here and they're going to take the man away and they're going to try to cut over. If I take my man away, the idea is to get the defender to come with me so I can cut his face and get to the basket and maybe get something here. Okay, there's a problem with that, though. Okay, this is what I tell my players, my defenders. Hey, he throws the ball over there, jump to the ball. Boom. That alone, even if one man starts going away, okay, well, I'm just going to kind of come away here with you, 50-50. Okay, it's kind of silly, but you're never going to be able to set your man up and go around them. Now, you can in the youth ball, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, because they don't jump to the ball. They just stand next to their player. So, yeah, take a jab away and cut in front of them. Okay, the game's more sophisticated that the higher you go. You can't, it's hard to cut in front of a guy's face, okay, like in this situation especially. So we want to go backdoor first. And the backdoor does many things. Let me kind of bring a couple of defenders out here. But the backdoor does many things. All right, one, it gives you a shot to score. Maybe you go backdoor. Maybe these guys are over here. Maybe you get a shot to score. Okay, so it's selfish. Go backdoor, try to score. All right, but if you can't score backdoor, it is also unselfish enough to where when I go backdoor here, this X2 goes, oh no, one man got beat. I got to help a little bit. The split second, this guy says, oh, my defender just dropped. Plus my guy just moved. I got to fill anyway. So I'm going to start filling. 3 man's like, oh, my guy moved too. Look what we're doing now. We throw the ball down here to the 5, by the way. Excuse me. Then we run that cut. And now we're filling. And now X2 is like, oh no, my guy, I got to come up here and guard my guy. He's wide open. One man's like, oh no, I got to chase my guy. Okay, I can't let him get open. They're running as hard as they can. It's like I'm reacting, following the one. And this 3 man's filling this gap. 3 man's like, oh no, I got to get in that shoot. And now guess what? Those 2 defenders that were sitting there on the midline are now working their way away from the ball. 5 man's like, thank you very much. And I'm going to get in here and start to make a move, try to score. Okay, so backdoor, it's selfish because you're going to score quick. Okay, it's different. Not everyone sees backdoor cuts. Okay, it's still not popular. So it's one of those, they're zigging, we're zagging. Okay, go backdoor first. And you have to teach it first because your kids are not accustomed. They've never been taught that before in their lives. So teach the habit that they don't know first, so it's a point of emphasis. All right, and kids do, players do what you emphasize and what you rep. Okay, emphasis, repetition, all right, creates habits and reflexes. Okay, all right. So go backdoor first. Concept, this is all day number 1. Concept number 7, we call the plays what they are. Okay, we don't overcomplicate what we call our plays in our playbook. Okay, so when I first started out, when we would run low post, we would call it lion. Okay, well, now your kids have to do 2 things. They have to, 1, learn low post, learn the X's and O's, learn the actions, and then they have to associate low post equals lion. So you guys see the extra step in the learning process that's there. Okay, so we don't do that. We just call it low post. And we throw the ball to 5. We're not going to call, okay, that's lion. And let's go, hey, if you go to the corner, it's Lynx. If you go cut down here, it's Ohio. If you screen away, it's Buffalo. You know what I mean? We just call it low post corner. Low post cut. Low post screen away. And I'm sincere when I say that's what we call our plays. We call them what they are. Now, once we're on the floor, and I call that in a huddle, once we're on the floor and they go to the corner, we don't have to say that out loud. Everyone knows, well, yeah, he went to the corner, so we're running low post corner. All right, if you run low post cut, we don't have to call it because everyone saw it. They know what they're doing. So let's just run low post cut. All right, if he comes over and starts screening away here, boom. Hey, we know that we're running low post screen. We didn't have to call it. We just saw what he did. So we call things what they are, and it makes sense. Okay, and it removes a step in the learning process, and your kid's going to be able to, they're going to learn faster. So everyone thinks the Princeton offense is complicated. That's because we overcomplicate things. Okay, so what Princeton did is they got real smart and said, well, let's just call the plays what they are. Now, they have special calls and audibles and stuff like that that they have to do to do special plays, but those are easy to learn, all right? when they already have the foundation, the play is what it is. All right, and then just teach one more thing. It's easy to learn. All right, so that's day one. Okay, so let me scroll down this. Skip one over to day two. Okay, day two was a big day. Hammered the X's and O's. So I'm going to go through this pretty quick. So there are 4 core series in the Princeton office. A lot of coaches will say there's 3. For me, there's 4. Okay, and you have to know all 4. You don't have to run all 4. It's a big misconception. Everyone thinks that when they watch Princeton, it's so complicated, but the teams you're watching are running the whole thing. Okay, and they're a very high level team. Okay, we don't have to do that. You can pick 1, you can pick 2, you can pick 3. Okay, but you don't have to run all of them. You can pick the 1 or the 2 that works for your guys. All right, or some of these actually work better together, like low post and chin work well together. Low post and point work well together. Chin and open work well together. Low post and open, now there's a gap in there. Okay, but there's ways to get from one to the other, which would take us down a rabbit hole and a much longer conversation. But the core 4 series, so the first one's low post, okay? And you kind of see me do this a little bit. So low post, let me just kind of take you through really fast. Low post, we're going to throw the ball to the wing. We're going to cut through, and we fill the point, the wing, and the corner, okay? Now the first look always is going to be throw the ball down to the 5-man. Now we have 3 options. We can go low post corner, low post cut, low post screen away, okay? If we go low post corner, okay, we look at this, we go low post cut, we got to watch guy in front of you and we'll fill. Okay, if we go low post screen away, what we do in screen away is I like to go back door. And now we can't fill these spots because the one can't fill the point, or now we're like 3 feet apart from each other. Okay, so we send the forward man over here to balance the floor. Now that back door took that forward man defender down. So when this 2-man reverse pivots, we can throw the ball to 2 for a shot. Okay, and then we get into whatever's next in the offense. Okay, but that's the gist of the low post series. Now, like I said, the next action could be 4-man's filling it, throw the ball to the 4, and then run low post again. That's very simplified. That's not what we do, but you guys can kind of see what I'm getting at. You can get into different offenses from that action. When you run low post corner, low post cut, you can get into different sets from that action. So that's going down a little bit more of a rabbit hole, but this is the first core series of the low post series. Okay. All right, series number 2. All right, is the chin series. This is the most popular, most in demand. Most everyone, even if they're not Princeton coaches, sees this and they say, "Oh, that's chin. We know that." Okay, because this is kind of like Princeton's flex. Okay, except it's a lot better than flex. Sorry, I got my son's cold, so we're trying to push through this. It's kind of like it's a better than, there's more scoring opportunities with this than flex. Plus, there's you can score more. You can spread the floor out better, and if you're if you're 5'9" coming off the flex cut, you're not going to be able to score down there. Okay, it's really tough. So anyway, so chin starts out with a 2-pass reversal. Okay, the 2-pass reversal, or the verbal chin, or the physical touch of the chin tells the 5-man to come high. Some teams will start their 5-man high. I like to be inside the lane line, left foot just inside the lane line between foul line and 3-point line extended. Okay, now we tell our 1-man to go 1,001, 1,000. Okay, now you can cut. We don't want to pass and cut right away, because the 4-man's got to read, okay, when the 1's going to be open. If the 1's getting by the screen before the 4 even gets the ball, 4-man's not going to know when he's open, or we're not going to be, or he might be open early. We might not be able to throw it to him because the 4 doesn't have the ball yet. Okay, so this also works. 1, throw the ball, especially with the girls, tell them a little hop, and then boom, and then cut. Okay, if they're having a hard time passing it and then giving a hezzy and then going, have them pass it, hop, and then boom, and then go. Okay, that works for us. So first cut is the shuffle cut, and we can score 3 ways off the shuffle cut. Right? Way number 1 is we're open early. Now, if the defender gets screened here, okay, we're going to be open early, okay, and we're open for a layup there. All right. Now, on all of these as well, the 5-man needs to be a little higher, so we got to get a good screen here, and the 1-man's got to get behind the 5, and we can pass big low, zip it over the top. All right. A lot of times, sometimes that 5-man will stand right there. Okay. Good 5-man defender will be down here. I'll get that in a second. Second look, maybe we don't get screened. Maybe they turn and follow them, but they're going to get skinny. And then now when I'm turning the corner, boom, I can create a little bit of separation here. And now we're going to be open late. Okay, now we got a layup on the left side. The third way is if this defender is good and they jump to the ball, and this defender is good and they're well prepared, and they say, well, your man setting the screen, you got to sag off of it. So if the 5-man's taken away early, 5-man's taken away late, and the 1-man's also taken away the late option. Now what happens after the 5-man sets that screen? 5-man's going to follow the arc, find a 45. Okay, but I'm going to come. So now you see what the 5-man does. The 1-man, third way to score here is boom, take him down low. Defender comes up here. Boom, we're going to swim over the top, and we're going to look at our 1-man in the post. Okay, so this will be our next look. And now if there's no defense in here, 1-man can turn around, score, reverse pivot, square up, and then play a little bit. Okay. All right. If the 1-man's not open, what's happening here is the 2-man, after they pass it, they're coming down almost the same time as the 1. So if the 2-man's now going to pivot on their outside foot, take their man below the 5, reverse pivot, and we call this a drift. We're trying to get open here. We're drifting here. We're not flaring there. Okay, because a flare there, that's a hard pass to make up top. They steal that. They got a layup. Drift, we're just trying to pinch this defender. Boom, get a piece of them, and just put our screener directly in between them. Okay, now when the 4 takes their eyes off the 1, you can get to the corner, zip it to the 2, and now we're playing off the drift. There are 5 ways to score off the drift. The first one's a shot. The second one's a drive. Okay, so I get a shot for a 3 is number 1. Number 2 is just drive all the way and get to the basket for a layup. Because if your 2-man chases you over the top, boom, now you want to start attacking the rim. Because the 2's out of position, pinch them there with the 5 a little bit. Okay. Third way to score, let's put the X3 out here, is let's say this X3 plays a little bit high. Maybe they're a denial team. Okay, we catch the ball, they're denying, we take 1 dribble towards the elbow. We're always attacking the basket. We're not going to dribble at our defender. Or you dribble at your defender, or you never dribble at your teammate. You dribble at your defender, but we like to take it a little bit further and still play like you're trying to drive. And the 3-man, boom, is going to go back door and get a layup. So our third way is a dribble at back cut. All right. Fourth way is this 3-man just sagging in here like crazy, and we're just going to, boom, just kick it to the 3. You got a shot. Or what we call this the give and go. So maybe 3-man closes out, maybe 2-man pinches, gets above the 5, and boom, now you've got a give and go look. Okay, so that's the fourth way. The fifth way is probably the most common way. It's a drive and kick. So now we're going to drive, okay, and if the 3-man is up high, if the 3-man's not here, 3-man does a good job guarding both, jab and recover, jab, recover. Our 3-man's got to get down here to the corner to take that 3-man down a little bit lower so that we can get a little bit deeper. So I might, if he commits, I've got a shot there. All right, if he does a good job playing both, 5-man recovers, 2-man recovers, 3-man can relocate, and now look at this pass. Boom, I got a shot there. If I don't have that shot there, boom, 2-man's going to book it out there, take his defender out, 3-man's going to close out, 5-man's kind of hanging in here, and now 3-man's saying, well, maybe I can drive in here and play. X1's going to work on their way. Maybe I can drive in there and get a pull-up. Maybe I can get a layup. Maybe I can drive it, suck in this X4 and kick it out there. Okay, and now we're playing basketball. So those are the 5 ways to score off the chin drift. All right? All right, the third series is the point series. The point series is very popular. So everyone wants to run point. It's also probably the most intricate. It has the most moving actions. And not every action is as easy. I wouldn't say easy. It's just not as simple because they're all different. It's not like low post, you got corner, cut, screen away. All right, low post, each screen kind of encapsulates its own thing. So there's probably 6 or 7 ways to get into point. I'm going to show you the most popular is we just wave them through or we say go. So some coaches call this the wave series. Some call it the go series. You're going to wave the 2-man through. I like to tell my 5-man, take a step back, throw your hands in the air, suck his defender, her defender down, and then boom, get on this side of him. And the 2-man's going at a dead sprint straight at that 5, timing it up here in the middle of the lane. We're going to chop our feet and boom, break out in a split second before we touch them. We never touch the 5. And that gives this 5-man hesitates, and boom, then we get open. And at the same time, the 1-man's taking their man away. And then now we're coming here, and by the time the 5-man is between the elbow and the 3-point line, the 1-man's at the point. That's why we call it point. We call it what it is. Right now we throw the ball to 5. We empty out to the corner. We drop our 4-man because that 4-man defender will like to cherry pick here, especially at the high school level. We want to get down the corner and flatten them out so our 5-man is safe. Okay, now we might have a call if we want to say, hey, stay high because they're denying. We might be able to get a back door there. That's fun. That's a wrinkle. That's something that we would That's a little more bit down the rabbit hole. That's a little under the surface area. Okay, now we got 3 options. Okay, we can go point screen away, point screen over the top, point down the middle. Okay, that's the terminology I like to use. You might have heard just away, over, under. They use those terminology as well. So if we go screen away, we're going to come here, and this is the one where they're going to come in 2/3 of the way. You're going to chop their feet, and then boom, and then cut. Okay, and they're going to move, and then boom, go back door. And you might get that. Okay, if you don't get that, on the back door on the screen, that back door takes X1, and X3 is chasing. X1's got, oh no, I got to help. So now one man, when they pop up, and it's a reverse pivot, and they pop up, boom, we got the 1 for a 3 right there. Just by doing that. Now the 1 starts to close out. 3-man's coming. 4-man's going to set a down screen. Kind of come up and angle out, so we get a nice angle, because we're going to get them open on the wing there. 5-man's going to come over now, set a ball screen. 1-man's closing out. 5-man shows up. Boom, ball screen. Okay, at the same time we come off the ball screen, we come off the down screen. All right, and we're going to look for a shot. We might have the 5-man rolling if there's a hedge. Okay, but a lot of times we're going to see this. Boom, we're going to throw the ball here to the 3. 5-man now is going to turn around, follow the 1, and boom, set a drift. And what is that? Okay, that's the chin drift. Okay, by the time you teach if you've already taught chin, by the time you teach point screen away, light bulbs go off in your kids like, oh, we've already done this, coach. I know this. Okay, and they get it. Okay, and they get it. All right, so that's point screen away. All right, point over the top is similar, but in the other directions. Now we're going to throw the ball at 5. We're going to screen over the top, and we're going to screen the defender. We're not going to screen our own man. All right, and we're going to boom, back door. Or this one works really good to get a nice tight curl. A lot of room over here. This is a great look. There are many ways to execute point screen over the top, and there's different ways to run point screen away as well. I'm just going to show you the simple version. You can run this up tempo, or you can make this very deliberate, depending on what you need. I'm just going to show you the up tempo version. Boom, X1 went down to help on X4. So we get X1 open the same way we did in point screen away. 5-man's going to come set a ball screen. Now what you can do is just tell your kids to play. Say just 2-man game. Just drive and kick and play. There's a lot of different stuff you can do over here. I'm not going to get into it just because I can talk about it for 45 minutes. Or maybe an hour for all the different actions you could do over here. But you got a good ball screen and roll, and now you can just go and play. It's a little bit of a 2-man game. Okay? And then there's other ways, again, going down that rabbit hole, we can back cut, we can set flares on the backside, we can do all kinds of cool stuff, and then we can flow into the next thing, but it starts to get a little bit deeper conversation than what we're doing today. Okay, this is just kind of a quick recap. So if you didn't see it, or if you wanted a review, that's what this is about. Okay, the last series, core series, is the open series. Okay, no, I'm sorry, we gotta do one more in point. Okay, we gotta do one more in point. Boom, hit the 5. The last one is point down the middle. So we're just going to go cut back door, right? And I like to square back up, fake left, and then 4-man is again going to come set a down screen. Boom, and we hit our 1. Now when we run point down the middle, I kind of like this action. 5-man's they're going to ball screen every time. Now 5-man does not have to ball screen every time. There's other stuff the 5-man can do, but again, I don't want to take them down the rabbit hole and just confuse the heck out of everyone. So if you're afraid that Princeton is too complicated, this is one way that I've simplified. It's just go ball screen on all of the options. I mean, your 5-man just has to learn one thing, okay? And it simplifies it, okay? And I wouldn't teach all these at once either. I teach one, get really good at it. Once you got that one down, then teach the next one, and so forth. So now let's come off this ball screen, and now on this ball screen, I'm going to roll, and the 4-man is going to what we call a twist. Okay, so the 5-man's rolling. If they both go with the 4, you got the 5. Okay, if they both go with the 5, you can zip it back down to the 4. They got a shot. 4-man closes out. Boom, 5-man comes back, and you can get back into low post. You can cut through. Okay, it's a little bit of a combo, or what we would call phase. That's phasing low post, or point down the middle and back into low post. That's one way to do it. There's all kinds of things you can do, but that's an easy one. Especially if you got a big down here that's a focal point of your offense, you might do something like that. If the 5-man's not a focal point, you might want to do something different. Okay, all right. So that's the point series. All right, now the last one is an open series. Okay, and I'm not going to show you how we get into this just for sake of time. But there's many ways to get into it. But essentially, you're getting here with your 5-man with the ball. This is great. If you play small ball, you got to have open end. If you play small ball, if your 5-man is a good passer, a good dribbler, all right, you've got to run the open series. Okay, So now, basically, all your 5-man has to do is just jab step one way, and then cross over and get to an elbow, or give a little move and then get to the elbow. So they can go right or left, boom, and we're trying to get to the elbow, and the 4-man's going to, similar to point screen away, point screen over the top, walk into it, and boom, go back door first, okay? And 3-man, watch a guy in front of you, fill. Now, huge X's and O concept. This will kind of, so if you're kind of confused, like, well, coach, when they go back door, when do we go all the way through, and when do they come back and post up? Well, this has worked well for me. If a guard is dribbled back door, they come back into the post. If a guard is screened back door, they get across the lane. Okay, so you saw in the point series, we're screened back door, we're going across the lane, getting out. Okay, you're seeing here in open, we go back door, dribbled back door. 4-man is going to, boom, pop back into the post. 3s can look at him in the post right there. Okay, and they can hit him, and 4-man can go in and score if that's what you want to do. If not, 5-man can come here and ball screen a 3, and we can roll and we can twist. And what does that look like? Okay, we just did that and point screen down the middle. So that's another thing. When you can have the entire offense available to you, you can say, well, I like point down the middle a lot, but I also want to run open. But I feel like that's a lot. But if you run open with the back door, okay, it turns into the same thing. You didn't point down the middle, so you don't have to teach your kids that again. Does that make sense? Or does that save time? Right? Is that simple? That's how you can simplify the Princeton offense. Is a lot of these sets can get into very similar action, but they get into it different ways. Okay, so you keep the defense off balance that way, but your players are already familiar with how to score out of this kind of look. Throw it down near the 5-man, boom, cut through, fill up, fill your spots. All right, we moved the defense, boom, let's get in here and try to score. Okay, right, and that's open series going back door. All right, let's say the 5-man comes here, get the elbow, and the 1-man now. 1-man defender sagging. So boom, let's pop up here and get a handoff. Our 5-man will hand it off and set a screen. All right. And now I've got a shot for a 3. Now over here we can do all kinds of different things. We could have these guys step up and set a flare. That's kind of cool. We could maybe drive at the elbow, send her 4 back door, guard dribbled back door. So where are they coming? Back into the post. 2-man fills. Hit the 2. Now we can throw the ball down here in the 4, let them score. Now 5-man is going to follow the 1. So if the 4-man's not open, boom, we're bouncing off. What is that? If you've already put in chin, your players already know this. Once you get there, your players are going to go like, oh, I got it. Yeah, it's easy, coach. I know. I see what you're doing. Okay, that's what your players are going to do. A light bulb's going to go off. They're going to get it. Okay, and this is when I teach this. We'll get to it. We'll get to it in day 3. But we teach what we call a progression method. So you don't show them the whole thing. So if you show them the whole thing, they're going to say, oh, okay, I see where you're going with this, coach. And then you go break it down, and you show them the whole thing again. They're supposed to have it. We teach, it's more efficient and effective for us to teach what we call the progression method. I'm going to talk about that in a second. So they might not see the whole picture to start, but once they get here, they're going to be like, oh, it clicks, it makes sense, and they got it. Okay, and they understand it completely, and it makes sense for them. And you'll see, once you get to this point, you will see that. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so that was day 2. That was a big day. All right, day 3. Okay, and we went pretty quick on day 3. We talked about your players, your practice plans, and your progression method. Now, no matter who your players are, okay, I think you don't have to have Ivy League IQ players to run this offense. Okay, repetition is the mother of all skill. If you rep it and you emphasize it, your players are going to do it. Okay, it will become a habit to them. All right, they don't have to have a 160 IQ to run the Princeton offense. Okay, it's just not true. Okay, one of my best players running the offense was probably my worst player. He ran a 5 spot, and he knew everything. He was quick to every spot. He was on time and everything. He couldn't dribble the ball without traveling. Okay, so he wasn't very good, but he knew the offense. I mean, like that. Okay, and he had some coordination issues, but he knew the offense. Offense was easy for him. He knew where everyone was supposed to go. Kid made the wrong cut. No, dude, you're supposed to do that. Okay, and he was an Ivy League, 160 IQ kind of kid. I mean, Wasn't a dumb kid, but he knew what the way that we repped it, the way that we taught it using this progression method, and he got really good at it. And I could rely on him on the floor, and that's comforting as a coach. All right. So you know, so if you have players that you're worried about, coach them, coach. Don't make excuses. Coach them. Does if say, well, I don't have good enough players, I can't run Princeton. Well, guess what? Whatever else you're going to run, you're going to struggle into. Okay, that's just the reality. We have to face that. Okay, what the Princeton offense does, it's a system that will actually raise the level of play for your role players. It's going to help. It's a system that helps your role players get easy looks. Okay, now there's a lot of cutting, a little bit of passing. Okay, a lot more movement, but that strategic movement helps your players get on the back door, helps the next guy get open. You just go back door and pop up, and your shooter can get a shot. Okay, you set a down screen for a shooter, and if that's all the kid can do, they switch out on it or something like, it's hard to, it's easy to guard them in a different system. Okay, Princeton's design raise the level of your role players, and it actually is going to free your best player up. Okay, so if you're worried about your best players, saying, well, coach, I don't want to do a passing cut, just give me the ball and let me do my thing. Okay, well, we've seen that experiment with the Chicago Bulls in the 80s with Michael Jordan, and the Pistons and the Celtics just threw everything at him, and Jordan just hogged the ball. Other players didn't get involved, and they got beat. Okay? Jordan's record against the Celtics was atrocious. Could not get past the Pistons until the 90s, and what did they do in the 90s? They were in the triangle offense. Triangle offense in Princeton, I kind of consider them sister offenses. Now, the triangle, I think, puts your players in good spots to make plays. I think Princeton helps put your players, it helps get your players in position to get good looks. So I think you have to have better playmakers to run triangle than you do running Princeton. That's my big difference. But they both do the same thing. They raise the level of their role players, okay, so that your best players can't double them. They can't go Jordan rolls on them. Okay, that's what the Princeton offense does. Okay? That's what this thing's about. All right, so it raises the level of your role players, and your best player is going to be fine. One of my fourth year as a head coach, we only had one returning varsity player back. I thought he was going to be like, he's kind of kid too. It's like he's competitive, but everyone, if you didn't know him, thought he was a selfish kid. And when I watched him play, and I kind of worried about that at the beginning of the year too. I was like, he's not going to trust these freshmen, sophomores that he's got to play with this year. He's going to try to hog the ball. He didn't do that. He let the offense run. Okay, he knew that the ball was. Everyone knew he was the best player in the gym, and he knew whether or not he actually thought about it or not. The ball was going to come back to him. Once the ball came back to him, he could use the offense if he wanted, but he also was that kid that had the ability to create his own and get his own. Okay, and he was also the kind of kid that he could look at the point guard and say, "Come to me now," and point guard say, "Okay, let's run this. Let's get Connor one." Okay, or he could bring the ball for himself and he said, "Let's run. I'm getting mine now. Okay, it's my turn." It's like, and your best players can do that. It's a cool offense that your players have that kind of freedom. Okay, they can best player can let the offense go, let your role players get it, then you get it and go play. It's sweet. Okay, so in our practice plans, we're very specific, and I'm not kidding. I write my practice plans. I don't have one up there. Let me just kind of show you a sample one here real quick. Minute by minute, and you can see we got things for 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 7 minutes, because after day by day goes, I can take away minutes from something we're doing well. I can add minutes to something that we have to do new or something that we need more time with. Okay, so we're very. My practice plans are. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to that stuff. We're very clean, very organized, and I can take this back to our coaches after practice. Hey, what did we do well? What about this section? What did we do well? Do we need more time here? Nope. Okay, can we do less time? Okay, yeah, we'll just mark that down in a couple minutes. All right, let's take those 2 minutes and add them to. We need more time there. Okay, I can put those 2 minutes here, and we just, it was very efficient that we could be specific about that because we do teach a lot, and we teach it in a specific order. Okay, and it's what I'm calling the progression method. So we took the whole part whole, and that's how I grew up playing. That's who I grew up. How I actually started coaching too. That's how we taught it. We showed the whole thing. We broke it down. We come back to the whole thing, and we're supposed to get it. Okay. Um, well, the problem with that is not all kids get all of the reps and all of the spots that they need. Um, and in Princeton, you can't show them the whole picture at one time. Depending on what you're doing, you might be able to do it with chin, but if you're running low post and chin, you can't show them low post and all the things going low post. Show them chin, all the things going chin, and how to get from one to the other, and then go break it down. And they're not gonna. It's not gonna work that way. So we have to do things step by step by step. So the first day they might not see the whole picture. Second day they're getting closer, but they might not see the whole picture. But day 3, once you get to a certain spot, light bulbs go off in their head. Their eyes get real wide. They might look and say, "Coach, I knew you knew what you're doing, Coach." That's what happens when you teach the progression method, and you just teach it step by step by step. So if I use low post as an example, right? So we throw the ball here, and we cut through and we fill. Right, the split second, the 5-man touches the ball. We always send this 2-kid back door, and when we go back door, the first thing that could be open is the back door. So we'll throw the back door layup. We'll get that. And we'll get that layup, and we're going to do that for 5 minutes. The next group's going to be right outside. I got a kid in all 5 spots. As soon as that one goes in, this next group's going to hop in, do the same thing. We're going to do that for 5 minutes. It is the player's responsibility to make sure they get in every spot. Okay, I'm not going to sit there and try to micromanage that stuff. That drives me crazy. Okay, you tell your kids it's your responsibility. If you don't know that spot, you run that spot. Get it on your own time. Figure it out. Okay, if we get in a game you don't know what you're doing, you're going to sit on the bench. It's just what it is. Okay, and that's good too because that builds resourcefulness in your players. That builds accountability. It's a little thing, but those are big things. Okay, very cool. All right, so now let's say, so we'll do that for 5 minutes. Now let's say 2-man's not open, okay? And we're rotating because that's what we do. And we move the defense out of the lane. So the second way we can score is the 5-man, get in there, make a move, and score. So we'll do this for 5 minutes, okay? Blue group gets in, red group gets in. We work it on both sides of the floor, so we're not always playing on the right side, okay? Sometimes I make them start on the left side just because it's, we're all right-handed. It's kind of weird. We always do things on the right side first. Get out of that habit, okay? We do ball handling drills. I always tell them start with your left hand. Unless you're left-handed, start with your right hand. Excuse me. Okay. All right. And then what happens if the 5-man can't score? Well, maybe that 4-man was open, fill in the top, throw it there, and shoot a 3. That's the next thing. Then there's the next thing after that, and the next thing after that, and eventually you're going to get to that day 2, day 3. It's all going to come together, and kids are going to be like, "Oh, this is awesome. I get it, Coach." Okay. And then you've done so many reps getting there. Building that foundation. Hit the 5, hit the 5, hit the 5, hit the 5. Backdoor, backdoor, backdoor. Score, score, score. Hit the guy, hit the guy, hit the guy. Dribble this way. Dribble, do the next thing. Okay? And you've repped it so much. You've built a habit. And you've built in some ways, once you get to a point, you've built a reflex. They don't have to think about it. They just know it and they do it. So if you've ever had problems with your players executing on the floor, it's your fault. It's my fault as a coach. It's our fault. Okay? We're not teaching them well. They're not getting enough reps. That's our fault as coaches. If they don't execute, if they don't know what they're doing on the floor, it's our fault. They need more reps. Okay, we need to tell them to hold themselves accountable, but we need to hold ourselves accountable that we're getting them enough reps. Okay? Give those kids enough opportunity to do this thing enough where they're going to learn. Okay? I'm going to die. All right. Okay. So that was day 3. Those are all the things that we shared. Okay? And we went maybe 5.5, almost 6 hours, almost 6, probably 5.5, and we went pretty deep, okay. But there was a lot of stuff that I did not share because one, we could have been there for 30 hours. I mean, I'm not joking. We could have gone on and on and on. So there are things that you did not learn this week. We touched on bits and pieces, but there's so much more. Okay, now. Don't get overwhelmed. Princeton can take you down a rabbit hole as deep as the deepest conspiracy theory that you've seen out there on the internet. You can go down that rabbit hole with Princeton. I will not let you, I promise. Okay, but all of this stuff that I did not share with you, you take a little bit here and a little bit here and you put it together in what fits your team and your players and and it makes sense. And you don't have to you don't have to learn all 7, 8, 9 sets series. You don't have to learn every phase, combo, audible, wrinkle. You don't have to put it all in. I would never recommend you do that because that's when you can overcomplicate things. I was guilty of that as a head coach. Okay, if I could go back, I would simplify things a little bit so we did not have, so I would not do that. Now, I had some decent players at that time, so I'm like, they can handle it. But I bet if I rolled it back, I bet we could have won 1 or 2 more games each season. So I won't let you do that, I promise. But things that we did not talk about, I did not share was, I didn't teach you all the phases and combos. Okay, we talked about the surface level stuff. If low post is not open, throw with the chin. All right, that's a counter. Okay, or it's a you could call it a. So I say a phase or a combo is when you go from a core series to a core series. Okay, what I call a counter and an audible. The other things I didn't share. A counter is something that defense takes it away within a series, a set or series. So if you're in low post and they take something away, you go to the next step inside low post. So I call that a counter. Okay, an audible is maybe the defense take it away, but the player made a decision. Okay, I could throw it there, but nope, I'm going to go run this action instead because it's better for me, and I can get a good look here. Okay, so that's an audible. We didn't talk a whole lot about audibles and player decisions. Okay. Every player, when they have the ball in the offense, you treat them like a quarterback. Okay, they're the decision maker. Okay, and they have options. They have phases, combos, counters, audibles, and then we have wrinkles and misdirections. A wrinkle is you take your core set and then you throw a wrinkle at it. Okay, and you do something different. You take the defense this way. Okay, defense is thinking fastball. You throw them a curveball. That's what a wrinkle is. Okay, or a misdirection where you purposely manipulate the defense to think you're doing one thing so you can get the next thing open. Okay, we did not talk about, we might have threw 1 or 2 in there, but we talked about those. We introduced them, talked about them, but we did not show them to you. Okay, because chin alone, I probably have about 15, 20 different wrinkles. You can run chin and run it as continuity, but then there's 15, 20 different things you can do with it. You can go down that rabbit hole, but you don't have to. You see those in my big playbook, and everyone's going to get 21 pages that watches this, or a lot of you already have it, but my big playbook has got all of the wrinkles in chin. So you don't have to run all of them, but you can say, that one doesn't work with our kids. Oh, that one works with our kids, and we want that one. Let's pull that out and put that into our offense. Okay. There are more advanced sets and series. There's a flash series, a circle series. I've got one that I created that I've never seen anyone run. I call it the break it series. We got a whole lot of different kind of movements and stuff in there that we run as well. I didn't talk about that just because, again, 3 days. It took me 9 years before this. Clicked, and I just got it. It took me year 9. It was start of year 3 as a head coach is when I got it, the whole thing. So I could not, would not be fair for me to try to do that with you guys in 3 days. And the fifth thing that we did not share is the multiple entries and false motions. So there's 4 or 5 ways you can get into low post. Okay, there's something that mostly media and announcers will call them false motions when they're watching a Princeton team. I like calling them. You can use it as a false motion. We do, especially as a delay. But I like calling them strategic motions because I will strategically forwards out opposite, circle opposite. Push, drag, whatever, to put specific players in specific spots. So when we get to the next thing, I am maximizing the usage of that player within our setter offense. So I'm putting that player here because I know they're going to get in the post and we've got a mismatch there. Or I'm putting this player here because they got a bigger, slower kid on them and I want to get them off a drift, or I want to get them here so that we can drive by them. And, we will strategically do that. Okay, within a game, right? When you know this offense to a specific level, you can do that and easily do that. I was trying to yell at my point guard once. I said, "Hey, run this, hey!" And he's like, "Coach, I got it." and then he went up, he called play, and they ran to perfection. Got my best player a backdoor, and kind of a, one of them. Well, it was a 5-7 point game, something like that, and they got him a wide open backdoor, and they went from 7 to 9. Like, okay, now we can breathe a little bit, and it was player's decision, And but once your players know this, they don't need you. Okay, you can guide them, but they don't need you. And a player-led team is always better than a coach-led team. And I think the way that you run and teach Princeton, it definitely already does it. It does that for you. Okay. All right. Something else I did not share. So we talked about the progression method, but I think we talked about how to do that in putting in low post, but I use it with all the counters out of low post, all the phases from low post. We use the progression method when we put in chin and point and open and the whole thing. Okay. Um, and So we just showed you how it works and why it is better. But I didn't show you how to do it with every single set series. I didn't teach you how to go through the entire offense and what order. If I'm putting in all 4 sets, okay, I use progression method to put in low post, point, chin, open, and we didn't break that down because that would take a lot more time. Um, the other part of that kind of goes together with is we talked about our practice plans, but I didn't have time to show you how to organize the practice plans in order to install the entire thing. Okay, or maybe you're just running low post and chin, or maybe you're just running point and open, and you only need that, or only need this. But we didn't break down how would you. Okay, coach, I got it. I know how to install low post, but what if I'm just doing point, but I want to do point and open? Okay, there's a specific order that I would teach that in. We did not have a chance to go over that today. The other thing that we didn't talk about is every team is just a little bit different from every other team. Player personnel, competition in the league. So everyone's got their own little thing. So the community is great. And I've got, so you guys are all in this big mastermind community. It's fantastic. I'm gonna be making videos and posting stuff in there from now on. Even though the 3 days over, I'm gonna stay in there, posting there, and communicate with you guys and follow you throughout the season. It's gonna be really fun. I'm glad to have this community of coaches who are kind of like me. Never really had that before, and since I've been coaching, I've kind of been missing it. But so that's really cool. But I've got another community where we break all of this kind of stuff downward, so I can say, "Oh, coach," they can kind of share, say, "Well, I just have these kind of players. What should I run?" And we'll kind of break it down and talk about it, where I can help answer more specific questions. I'm going to talk to you about that here next. Okay, so so this is the next kind of cool thing that we did. At the end of the training on day 2 and day 3, kind of share with some coaches who want who love this, and it's not for everybody, but it is for everybody. It's here for everybody if it's something that you want or need. But I have got a deeper coaching program. If I want to teach you everything that I possibly know about Princeton, that's what I want to do. Doing this 3-day mastermind is great. I can teach you all the surface area stuff. But if I want to teach you all of everything down the rabbit hole, okay, that's what this next thing is. Okay, that's what this coaching program that I have. That's what this thing is. Because down the rabbit hole, man, is fun. Okay, and you can go this way and you can go that way and you can get lost in it. Okay, now I will not let you get lost in it, but you can. I got lost in it, and then you have to say, well, that's when you start overcomplicating things. I will not let you do that. Promise. Inside of this coaching program, but basically what it comes down to 2 packages. I've done this before, but I only did it. I did a smaller version of it. Now I'm kind of doing a bigger version of it, and I'm doing it at this point in time specifically because the season is about to start. We haven't started official practice yet. Probably not for another 5, 6, 7 weeks. We might not have the official practices. A lot of states are even delayed because of COVID. So I thought that this timing worked out perfectly. Let me pop over to my slides here. There we go. And just kind of zoom in on this. Should have had that set up. There we go. Okay. So I've got a coaching program. If you want to take this to the next level, if you want to go down that rabbit hole a little bit further and learn, everything there is to learn. And again, if I was still coaching, I wouldn't be sharing this with you guys because I've got that Princeton thing imprinted on me where it says, "Don't tell anyone. Keep it for yourself." Okay, but I'm not coaching right now, and I wanted to share it. I love working with coaches, the creativity and it's so fun. And then just the camaraderie that we have. We're all in this together. So anyway, I'm going to go through this pretty quick. There's 2 packages. There's a workshop package and a digital package. Okay, the workshop package I'm doing live for 8 weeks. So let's go through that one. So the Princeton Offense Workshop. It's going to be an 8-week workshop. Okay, there's going to be, and I kind of, this slide. So there's 3 different things that we're doing inside the workshop. And the first one is a whiteboard session. So once a week for 8 weeks, we're going to get on this board here behind me. I'm going to break down the entire offense. Okay, instead of spending 5 minutes on low post, I might spend an hour on low post. Okay, and then I'm going to take you through the progressions to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. Okay, it might take me the first 2 weeks to kind of put in the 4 hours to put in the core 4 offense instead of an hour and a half. It was what we did this week. Okay, so we're going to spend a lot of time, get a lot deeper in it, make sure that you really know it. Okay, and then I go as deep as, I'm going to teach you how to run the dribble drive with Prince. I'm going to teach you how to run triangle with Prince. We're going to mix and match other offenses. So if you're running a little bit of read and react, a little bit of this, how do you combine the two? Because I think that's very valuable. Okay, if you're guard heavy and you want to run in transition, we ran dribble drive. And when after dribble drive was open, I found a way to make it easily and naturally flow into our Princeton stuff, and it worked out great. We're going to work on all of that. So for 8 weeks, we're going to be doing a whiteboard session. Okay. Also, once a week, for 8 weeks, we're going to be doing a film session. This will be about an hour and a half or so. The whiteboard session will be probably at least 2 hours each. These film breakdowns will be about an hour and a half. And we're going to break down, for example, my favorite example, we'll break down my practice film, game film, excuse me, break down collegiate game film, maybe some pro stuff. But my favorite example is like, well, coach, how do I want to run it? Because this is like looking big. I'm not going to break it down in order of what they do and why they do it. We're going to actually watch their game, offense by offense, see what they run. I'm going to say, well, this is why they did that. This is why they did this. This is where this came from. This is why the kid decided. This is why this worked. This is why that didn't work. But we try to break down about 2 films a week. So 1 week last time, we'll do it again. I broke down Georgetown versus Duke, and the following year, Air Force played Duke. And Duke had the same defensive philosophy. Georgetown ran 2 core actions out of Princeton, and they beat Duke when they had J.J. Redick. They were number 1. They're like 18-0, and then Georgetown came in and beat them. Destroyed them. Georgetown destroyed them, picked them apart. It was one of the best Princeton games I've ever seen. We're going to break that one down. Then the next year, Air Force Academy, when they were about at the top of their game, played the same Duke defense, but they ran everything. They probably ran 50, 60 different things. And every time you come down the floor, it was always a little bit different. Okay, but Air Force had to do that to compete. Georgetown didn't. Okay, so if you want to look at contrasting styles of Princeton, that's what we're going to do in the film week. We're going to talk about that once a week. And then we're going to have some breakout sessions. So once a week, we'll have a breakout session. And so if something pops up, say, hey, coach, what about the matchup zone that Princeton runs? Let's break that down. Okay, we ran that a little bit for a couple of years. Let's break that down. Okay, for about an hour a week. These will be shorter sessions. And these are all going to be live. I do not know what time of the day I'm doing them yet. It's going to depend on a few things because I actually work nights. So when I did the 3-day this last week, I finished the 3-day. Then I would go work from 12 o'clock till 5, 6 in the morning, come home, and then I'm up at 8 again with my kid, and it was really hard. So I haven't decided when we're doing them yet, but anyway, we'll do these breakout sessions once a week. Princeton versus a zone. It's going to be a big topic. We're going to do a breakout session on that. I actually might show you a little bit how we build our playbooks, and we might do a whole breakout session on practice planning. Okay, that's the kind of stuff that we're going to do in these breakout sessions. All right. Questions that kind of arise up in the comments, we'll talk about them. Say let's do a breakout session on that. That would be good. Okay. So there's a lot of stuff, and don't get overwhelmed because if you can't watch them live, or if you think this is so much, that's not what this is about. Okay. It is a lot. But what you're going to see is you're going to be exposed to the entire thing. So then you kind of look at, oh, these are my players. I understand everything. This works for mine. This works for mine. I can grab this. I can grab that. Pull this off the shelf. Put it in. Take that one off the shelf. Take this one out of the court. Put it back on the shelf. You know what I mean? And I'm going to teach you the Princeton offense the way that I'm going to teach you everything that I know. This is no holds barred. I'm not saving anything back for another day. Everything that I know you're going to learn in this thing. I'm actually going to do a bonus week, and we decided we're going to throw it. We're actually going to do the bonus week. We're going to start next week. Okay, we're starting Monday. Monday this is 18th, like the 21st. If Monday's the 21st, that's the day we're starting. Okay, and we're going to start. We're going to get heavy right into the X's and O's. A lot of this bonus this first week's going to be like a prep week, and then we're going to get hot and heavy into it. Okay, so that we make sure that everyone is ready to go this season. Okay, and then even if you start practicing and we're still doing these and you can't watch them live, comment in them. I will get back to you. We'll make videos and I'll send them to you. And we're gonna have a Facebook group. If you have Facebook, if you don't, I'd say go ahead and get Facebook. I know it's like pulling teeth, but get it just for this group because we have this big conversation going on Facebook that we can't have in YouTube. And then coaches can ask questions and I can make videos, unpromptu, put them in the Facebook group, and then everyone can kind of learn from that. It's specific for someone. But a coach said, Coach, I want to run open. Can we run it as a continuity? Because I want this kid to have that ball all of the time. And so I was like, well, I've never done it, but let me see if I can figure it out. So I figured it out, and I made a video of it, put it in there, and the coach is already implementing that into their system. Okay. So the Princeton Offense Workshop's got it's got the whiteboard sessions, which says workshop, whiteboard sessions, film room, bonus sessions, and we're going to kick it for 9 weeks, and we're going to kick it hard. Okay. I'm also going to live stream this on YouTube for coaches who don't have Facebook. But if everyone's got Facebook that gets in, we'll just do it on Facebook. Okay. So if you don't have Facebook, don't worry about it. I'll still make these so you can watch it. I'll still make replays available. They're all going to go up inside a members area afterwards, so you don't have to watch them on Facebook. You can log in with your own username and password into the members area, and you'll get it in. So, okay. So that's package one. Package one is the workshop package. I don't want the reason I'm different than everyone else teaching Princeton is because I'm teaching you the entire thing. Okay, and I'm not holding anything back. This is not an hour and a half thing. This is not just something you watch and try to figure out yourself. This is I'm trying to teach you the entire offense. That's when I say I want to take things to another level. That's what I mean by that. No one else is breaking down everything from the concepts to the X's and O's to all the intricate player and installation stuff. No one else is doing that. So that's me. That's my niche. That's my thing. And I want to give so much value that this is an easy decision for you to make, okay? So here's the digital package. I'm going to go through this pretty quick. We talked about it during the 3-day a couple times, but you guys are all getting a copy of 21 pages of the Core 4 playbook. But my other playbook is 90 pages and growing. By the time the workshop's done, every time we put something in during the workshop, and I've got a list of stuff that I still need to add to the playbook that's going in the workshop, as I'm going to get that done. My playbooks take longer to do because I make them super nice. It's the best playbook in the world, the best looking playbook in the world. And there's nothing else there like it. If you find something, please show me, and I will make mine better, I promise. But it's pretty darn good. Ask some of the coaches if you guys have seen the Core 4, you guys already know. If you've seen my 21-page playbook, you guys already know. Okay, and there'll be links underneath this video. You guys can go download that stuff. Okay, but this 90 pages and growing, it's got every counter, every phase, every combo, no holds barred. It's all in there. Okay. There's a couple pictures of it. It's broken down. No one else breaks down the Princeton offense, so it's easy to explain like I do. So you see my black bar, my orange bar, my blue bar. So when you're looking at the playbook, you say, okay, well, this is a phase. Okay, this is a counter. This is an audible. Okay, that's all in there. So it's easier for you to learn, so you can learn it faster. Okay, and you'll understand it better. Okay, I've also, and I'm still doing this, but this right here, I've got about 3 hours of video. This is the video playbook. So everything that you see, you can look at on paper, but okay, I get that, but I can't put all of my thoughts down on paper. There's just not enough room. So I did a video playbook where every page by page, I come up here and I do the video on it. So if you say, well, there's so much, coach, there's 50 hours in that workshop, but I can't find everything that I want to find. Well, just go straight to the video playbook and you can just find a 5-minute video, a 7-minute video, an 11-minute video of me breaking down what you need to learn. Okay, I'm trying to make this as simple because I want to see the Princeton offense out there, man. Now that I'm not coaching it and I'm watching more basketball, I want to see more teams running it. That's why I'm doing this, okay? I want to make it nice and easy for you. I'm also got 7 full days of practice plans. That's me putting everything in, all the counters, combos, audibles that you can run in the Core 4 in 7 days. I would not recommend you doing this unless you've got a pretty experienced team or if you've been running for 3 or 4 years, then I would absolutely tell you to do this. But this gives you the big picture of how you plan out your practice plans. And I also, by the end of the workshop, I'm going to have 21 pages because I'm going to have specific practice plans built out if you're only running low post and chin or if you're only running point and open. Okay, I'm going to specifically make personalized playbooks so you can just go, hey, we run this and this, I can go grab this, but how do you put in open? Well, let me grab this one. Okay, I can add that to this, and it just makes sense for you, okay? And it makes it easy. Okay. So if you had if you had the pre-built plans to put the offense in during practice, it's going to help you streamline everything. Do you think that would help you out a lot? I mean, that's kind of the point. It's supposed to help you out a lot. I also got a PDF in there that helps you break down right now. This is being updated. I actually did break it down 3.0, 4.0 because when I did this, I'm like, well, that's how I first started doing it. And I'm like, no, it's like I got to do progression method, but I already had this built, so I'm updating this portion of the breakdowns. It kind of looks like a playbook to where it's going to be a progression method offense breakdown and not just 3.0, 4.0. So this is being updated, but this is going to kind of different from the playbook. Shows you all the options. The progression method playbook is going to be teach it in this order. Okay, so you can get to the next thing. Okay. All right, and then a lot of other stuff. Here's all the skills and drills we do. Here's the practice plan for the skills and drills. This is all in there. This is all great stuff. Here's 5 quick hitters that are not typical Princeton quick hitters. That's why they're separate from the playbook. But this might go away. Might go in the playbook. Here's my offensive transition. We use a progression method to put in our offensive transition. Here's my base core zone offense. We'll do Princeton versus zone in the bonus sessions, but this is part of it too. All of this stuff. And then the 3-day mastermind, the videos are going away. If they're not already away by the time you're watching this, those videos are gone. If you want to watch the 3-day mastermind, okay, it's also going to be included. So if I said something you liked in there that maybe I didn't hit somewhere else, or maybe you just like going down that rabbit hole, or you need to see, maybe you want to show this to your assistant, you get in and you want to show your assistant coaches, but you don't want your assistant coaches to go down the rabbit hole quite yet. You're going down the rabbit hole. Just let your coaches watch the surface level stuff. Okay, let them watch 3-day mastermind. When they get a good core concept of it, now you can start sending them and start teaching them the other stuff as well. So that's why this is great. So that's going to be, we were going to sell that separate. I'm like, well, let me just, and I still probably will. But I was like, well, let me just throw that in here as a bonus. Okay. All right. So the playbook, breakdowns, practice plan, skills and drills, skill work, practice plan, quick hitters, OT, zone offense. I'm also doing the pre-built packages, the playbook. So if you're only running low post and chin, I'm going to break them down. I'm going to kind of separate things out. So they're going to be nice little packages. So I'll say, I just want to run this and this. Which ones do I need? And I'm going to have them set out so you don't have to go sift through all of my content to find them. Again, easy as my plan. Okay. So all those red numbers, I made that math. That's something, isn't it? If you're gonna fly out here and spend 50 hours with me learning this offense, and I'm going to be giving all this stuff away for you to help, that's pretty valuable, especially if you come with me in person to do this. If you were to fly out here with me in person, I'd give you hard copies of everything, spend an entire week with me, 10 hours a day for 5 or 6 days. And this is probably what I would charge for something like that, just because it would be intense. But we're not doing it now. Now what I did out of my own pocket, I went to Air Force Academy back in like 2007, before the big crash. So everything was still pretty pricey. About $2,000 out of my own pocket to fly out to the Air Force Academy, and that was a turning point for me. Okay, and that cost me $2,000 to do. And I don't even know, Coach Scott does now. I don't even know if they'll let coaches in there to do this. I don't know if they'll let you stay there and watch 5 days of practice or 6 days like they let me watch me. I don't know if they'll do that now. I went down to Richmond twice. I was actually close enough to drive, but God, that's like a 10, 12-hour drive with my staff. Actually, I helped pay for my staff as well for the night, so I didn't count that in there. But I spent at least $1,500 with that. Everything that I bought, the point I'm trying to say is that I've invested a lot of money myself into learning the Princeton offense, and that's a lot of money, and I get that. One thing I'm also going to do during this, this is going to be separate. It's going to be like a bonus training. I'm going to do a free training on my favorite fundraiser. So if you're going to use your boosters, your athletic department to get into this program, I'm going to give you my best fundraiser that we raise anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 a year on, depending if you use your middle school or not. If you use your middle school, you can raise more money. Football programs at big school do this and raise $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. Crazy. It's crazy. And I'm going to show you the offline version. Then I'm actually going to do something. I'm trying to work on a cool online version, but I'm going to teach you how to get the word out, how to get people excited about your program, and how to get them to contribute and help you raise funds so you can buy a gun, or you can buy a Dr. Dish, or you can get into a program like this to train yourself and train these coaches, so you can offer your players the most you can possibly offer them. Okay, so I'm not going to charge $7,800. I'm definitely not going to do that. While I think that if you were to come here to my house, to my office, to the gym with me, to the film room with me, I think that's pretty fair. But I'm definitely not going to do that. This is a completely online thing. I'm not even going to charge $9.97 for all of this. It's going to be like 50, 60 hours by the time it's all said and done with the video playbook and the whole workshop together. But we're going to go for $497. Okay, so not $8,000, not $1,000, but $497. And you go to PrincetonOffenseSecrets.com/secrets. We got a lot of coaches already jumping in, which is pretty exciting. Before you guys have even seen this video, and the community is growing. It's really kind of exciting. We do a lot of fun stuff in there. So a lot of coaches need this, need to learn this. Some coaches are getting in just because they want to, just because it's like I'm already pretty good at Princeton. I get it. I don't need this, coach, but I just got off the phone with the guys but man, I was like, man, it would be fun if you were in here with us. He's like, you're right, it would be, and jumping in the same way. So again, if you guys come out here and spend a week with me and grab a hotel, it'd probably be like $5-8 grand, something like that. I'm actually putting together something where I'm going to start traveling to schools for 2 or 3 days and charge about $5,000 to actually do a 2-a-day for 2 or 3 days and actually do a camp to help you guys put this in. So go to PrincetonOffenseSecrets.com/secrets or click the button below. Get in. If you're on the fence, again, there's 2 things that you can do. You can jump in the program now, have everything you're going to need, and just go 100 miles an hour right away. Or the other thing you do is you can hang in there and kind of keep doing what you're doing. You're going to do it. It's going to take you a lot more time. My thing is I'm going to simplify it, get creative with you, help you guys build it so you guys are ready to go this season or in the future. Okay, so PrincetonOffenseSecrets.com/secrets. It's $497. Or there's also a button if you need to break that up. I totally get it. You can do 4 small payments of $137. That's all in there. Coaches, hit the button below, and I'll see you guys on the inside. Thanks, Coach.